Howdy, and welcome to On Stage at StageCenter, a community theater podcast recorded on set at StageCenter Theater in historic downtown Bryan, Texas. Make sure to check out our website at www.stagecenter.net to learn more about our upcoming productions, including A Bad Year for Tomatoes, which opens January 30th and runs through February 15th with a matinee on February 9th. Make sure to visit StageCenter.net to get your tickets and learn how to support our theater today. Now, please take your seats, silence your cell phones, and keep your feet off the stage. You're listening to On Stage at StageCenter.
Hello, thank you for listening to On Stage at StageCenter. I'm Ben Zemmer, Vice President here at StageCenter, and with us today is
Alan Wood.
Alan. Good to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the show, what's your character in the show, and give us a little teaser.
So we've got A Bad Year for Tomatoes coming up, and I get to play the character Piney, who is the local little fun wood chopping, skunk trapping, manure salesman.
Interesting.
He is quite the character.
Sounds like it. So how do you get into Piney's head when you're blocking the scene? Like, what helps you get into character?
So actually, Piney is a character that I grew up with. I'm related to a lot of Pineys. And when I was back in tryouts for the part, I'm reading the bit and I'm like, I know this guy. Like, I was born for this. And so before each practice, I just start thinking about family and friends and growing up. And I channel that guy that I've known so well.
So what helps you channel that as you're going through the rehearsal process?
So going back to my childhood, I knew a lot of Pineys. They were frequent members of the family and friends and around those guys. And I just think back to that and how the nuances of who they were and what made them so special in my life. And I just try to bring those to life on stage.
And so this is your second show on stage, correct?
It is.
So what was your most surprising thing about being on stage? Something you didn't expect?
I didn't expect to really love it as much as I do. My mom had been in a big part of community theater when she was alive, and I was around it, but never in it.
Right.
And then I've always enjoyed the theater and coming, but sitting in the audience. And when I thought about trying out, doing, jumping on stage, I got involved in it and I just fell in love with it.
So what made you make that leap from coming to the shows to being on stage? What made you want to audition?
Well, right here at StageCenter, I was sitting here in a show, and before we got started with the actual performance, one of the folks came out and was like, hey, we've got these auditions coming up and we really need men for some of the parts. So if you're interested, come out and try out. And I thought, you know what, I could do that, maybe. And so I said, why not? So I showed up, and next thing you know, here I am.
So what was the audition process like for your first time? Was it nerve-wracking? Were you ready, gung-ho, ready to go? What was it like?
Well, so I showed up, and there was actually a lot of people auditioning that night. And so I was looking around the room, and I'm watching the various people go through the readings, and I thought, I'm outclassed here. Like there's some real talent in the room. And I didn't think that I was going to get a part. And very fortunately for me, they took pity on my poor acting skills and said, we can do something with him. And they gave me the part of the butler. It was just so much fun. I wouldn't say it was stressful at all, but it was very enjoyable. But sitting back, looking back at it, I was like, why did they pick me? I don't know, but I'm happy they did.
We're happy you were involved as well. So what's something you learned during that process that helped you come into another show and want to do another show at StageCenter? So
I was totally impressed with everyone in the first show from front to back. Director, assistant director, the props people, the other actors that I was surrounded with. First of all, they were very welcoming. I was not prepared for being my first performance. There's a lot of stuff I just didn't know.
Right.
And they were like, no big deal, man. We got you. They pushed me along. They helped me. They were very accommodating when I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't expect them to be so nice, but they were just like a great little family.
So how did that translate into the next show? So what lessons did you learn from your first time on stage that you're bringing in to this time that you're on stage?
I'm more comfortable, if you will, being in character.
Okay.
I was a little nervous in that first show about, being this English butler and how does that come off? I mean, I don't exactly sound like an English person, but I had some really good help, a lot of positive feedback. And, I guess we made it work in that first show. And coming here with A Bad Year for Tomatoes and being Piney, I was just really comfortable at I could be this guy. I could totally envelop myself in the character and not have any reservations about it.
So does it help having that past where you've known Pineys before, you can channel that versus having to play a British butler that,
yes.
as we both sound like we don't sound British.
Yeah, we're got a little distance there across the pond. Piney was a character going back to auditions, just the way things worked out. I was the very last person that read for that part that night. And I'd been on stage reading for other parts and everything, but it came to Piney, and I had noticed that the other actors trying out, they read him as a very straight person. He didn't have any nuances to him.
Right.
And I was like, they don't know this guy. But I do. I know this guy. And so when I got on stage and had the opportunity to read, I just fully jumped into the deep end of the pool with who I believe the character was. And I could relate to him on a level that I don't think the other guys could. And it just felt natural.
Yeah. So how was it trying to bring out that nuance? What was something that you hope comes out on stage with that nuance? Piney?
Body language.
Okay.
So Piney is, I wouldn't call him slow-witted, but he's a simple man, a man of few words.
Right.
He's not the kind of character that's going to be wandering around stage. He walks in a room, he stands in the middle of the room, and he's very direct.
Okay.
He doesn't have a lot of fluff about him. And that's something I really try to bring out in the character, is where there's a lot of characters in this story that are very dramatic. Piney's a simple man, stands where he stands, says what he has to say, and that's it. That's who he is.
Do you enjoy having that simplicity of character rather than having one of the big dramatic roles?
I do. And I guess it goes back to bringing to life for everyone in the audience the people that I knew as a kid.
Right.
And I enjoy that. It's so much fun seeing the reactions of everyone in the room when I play Piney.
So kind of back more to acting in general, as someone who's new to the stage, what do you enjoy when you have a scene partner, you're on stage with someone else? What's something that you enjoy? What makes a good scene partner to you?
Oh, that's a good question. So someone that I can make eye contact with. Okay. Get that personal feedback, see their reaction in their face, their body language. And I really think the more natural that is, in real life, when you come across people, sometimes they strike you funny and you're kind of taken aback by them. Yeah. I love that. And I think there's a couple of folks I interact with in the play here that they get that, whoa, he's a little different, Yeah. And I enjoy that so much.
That's awesome. So how do you feel do you feed off your partner's energy? Do you try to bring that energy to feed to someone? How does that relationship work when you're on stage?
Absolutely. You've got to give in order to receive. And so as I play that character, I try to, specifically, there's a lot of facial movements for Piney. He's a man that speaks a lot with body language, facial expression. I try to deliver that to my scene partner and let them have a very natural reaction, but give them something to play off of. And I think we're getting there. Pretty close.
What's your favorite facial reaction that Piney does?
Oh, there's a particular scene in the first act where he is almost bragging about trapping skunk. And I know that sounds so crazy, but if you come out and see the play, you'll get it. And it's just one of those things like, yes, I'm a skunk trapper, and there's a certain honor to that, you know.
Yeah.
He takes care of it for the community,
That's funny. That's going to be a fun one to see on stage. Is there anything you want to add before we finish up?
Well, I would say that, it's a great story. You've got this Hollywood starlet who runs away, if you will, or flees to the small town village to leave behind Hollywood and all of the scandal and gossip, only to find reality hits her square in the face that small towns have their own scandal and gossip. And there's even a bit of a murder mystery here. So if you'd like to see how all that plays out and know the ending of the story, you need to come out. Check us out, January 30th through February 15th.
All right.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday performances with one Sunday on February 9th, I believe it is, as a matinee. So y'all come out, check us out. You can get tickets at StageCenter.net.
Yes, sir.
And I know for a fact that some of the performances are selling out pretty quick. So get online.
Make sure to get tickets early.
Yes.
They're on sale now.
Absolutely. So get on there. And I guarantee you this, if you come out, you watch the performance, Piney's going to give you 110%. So come out and see how that all plays out.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate taking time out of your day to talk to us.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Look forward to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to On Stage at StageCenter. Don't forget to mark your calendars for A Bad Year for Tomatoes, running January 30th through February 15th with a matinee on February 9th. Make sure to visit www.stagecenter.net to buy tickets and learn how to support our theater. We look forward to seeing you at the show and seeing you on stage.